Good morning, all, depending when you're watching this. Good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we are completing the set. The other day, we looked at Latias Prism Star. Latias has become my new daughter spirit Pokemon, as I've mentioned in a few videos. Today, it is all about Latios, who is immediately inferior because, not me daughter spirit Pokemon, but could actually be a really good Pokemon with a phenomenally good attack in the right deck, which I'm not entirely sure we actually have at the moment. So starting off then, it is a dragon Pokemon, which means we have access to Devoured Field to do an extra 10 damage, which can help us to hit some numbers here, which is actually kind of relevant. Then of course we've got Zinnia, which allows us to attach 2 energy, basic energy, from our hand to one of our dragon if a Pokemon was KO'd the previous turn. Honestly, not that relevant, to be perfectly honest with you, because you can use this attack for a double colorless, as we're going to see in a minute. What is incredibly relevant is Latios Prism Star. Latios Prism Star says that if a Pokemon of yours was KO'd during your opponent's previous turn, you can search your deck for 2 dragon Pokemon and put them onto your bench. But they don't have to be basics. Now, I've spoken in a few videos about Dragonite GX. And I've basically said that Dragonite GX, as far as I'm concerned, is the best use for Lance. Now, there's plenty of other Pokemon we can use, and certainly they're ones we can look into, and there will be other dragon Pokemon used in the future, released in the future, that we can have a look at. Now, you can use this to get basics out of your deck, but they're really not what it's good for. Latios Prism Star absolutely excels by having evolved Pokemon, evolution Pokemon, like for instance Dragonite GX, of which I am a particularly large fan. Like I said, go check out my video. I'll try and remember to pop a link in the description so you can see all about it. And that is going to be relevant as we roll along. Now, it does have a weakness to Fairy, which is a little bit of a pain with stuff like Gardevoir running around. Good news is it will survive a hit from Dedenne, as it has 140 HP. 140 HP is great. It means that Zoroark GX won't be able to get a KO, and Silvally won't be able to get a KO, unless you come with some Professor Kukui nonsense, which I'm willing to believe just isn't going to happen. It's even 10 more than Latias, if you want to get to comparing them, which I'm sure a lot of people do. Retreat cost of 1 is pretty nice because it's low, but most of the time here we're going to be using a double colorless energy, so the retreat cost is a little bit relevant, although of course Escape Board is going to be our go-to retreat after we hit the rotation and Floatstone rotates, so actually having a retreat cost of 1 all of a sudden is going to become absolutely amazing, because Escape Board reduces your retreat cost by 1 rather than making it free. So actually, retreat cost of 1, pretty gosh darned relevant. And being a dragon Pokemon means you are hitting literally nothing for weakness. Sorry about that. But it is the attack with which we are mostly concerned here, and it is a doozy, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it has been translated by the lovely David Hochmann, Mr. RappelmannTCG himself. If you ever want just a list of translations, limitlesstcg.com is by far the best place I've found to go. And he says that for a double colorless energy, it does 50 damage for each dragon evolution card that you have in play. So your basic dragon Pokemon won't count here, so i.e. Latios being a basic won't then count for an extra 50 damage. You've got to go evolving up, which is a little bit of a pain, but there's nothing we can really do about it, so let's try and not get too upset about this. Let's see where we can go. And in terms of numbers here, it adds up pretty quickly. Now, if you've only got 2 evolution Pokemon in play, you're doing 100. 100 for a double colorless energy is fine, but the issue we've got here is that you're not hitting anything for weakness, because you're a dragon Pokemon. So you add Devoured Field, you go up to 110. All right, that's fine, I suppose, but what are you really KOing? What's got 110 HP? You've got the promo Tapu Koko, but 110 really isn't all that relevant at the moment. Now, the good news is 1 Evolved Dragon in play, or 1 Dragon Evolution, plus the Devoured Field goes up to 60, and stuff like Zorua will be KO'd. But generally speaking, this starts getting a little bit tasty when you get free Evolved Dragon in play. Soon as you've got free Dragon Evolutions in play, then you're actually rocking 150. Now, 150 is alright. You'll get most non-GXs. Yay! And you'll even get Marshadow GX. But the general thing here is that you're not stuck at 150. So you hit 150, yay! Add a choice band, 180, then you're up to stuff like Tapu Lele, for instance, or Drampa GX. And then if you add a Devoured Field, you're up to 190, and then stuff like Duskmane, Necrozma, and Buzzwole will be getting KO'd here. I did tell you that the Devoured Field could be rather significant in terms of the damage it does. This is why. It makes 180 into 190. It's also relevant for if you've got 4 Dragon Evolutions on the field. Now, this is starting to get into awkward, not always going to be able to do it territory, but if you can pull it off, then you're hitting 200 damage. 200 is great. You're getting everything up to things like Glaceon GX and Lycanroc. But then if you add 10 damage with Devoured Field, all of a sudden you're now KOing Zoroark GX, and now we're starting to look really good. You're hitting good numbers here. The problem is the amount of evolutions you actually have to get out to get this working nicely could be a real big pain. Now, one advantage you have here is the aforementioned Latias Prism Star. Now, the thing to remember is that Latias Prism Star is a Prism Star, just like this. And Prism Stars go to the lost zone rather than the discard when they are discarded, when they're knocked out, or when you use them, or even if you play a Professor Sycamore to discard them. They go away forever and they don't come back. And you can also only have one in your deck, and the combination of only having one in your deck combined with this rule that sends them to the Lost Zone means that it really is a one-shot deal. You can use Lance to get 2 Pokemon out, but that's it. The great news is Dragonite GX has a really rather stonkingly good GX attack for a double colorless energy, which says that you can put 3 Dragon Pokemon from your discard straight onto your bench, whether they are evolved Pokemon or not. That's awesome. So now, if you use Dragonite GX in combination with Latias Prism Star, you should be able to get a whole bunch of Dragon Pokemon out as evolution Pokemon. And this, I think, is where this comes in. Because this is a great attack. There is absolutely no question that this is a phenomenal attack. The problem is, it's got to be evolved Pokemon. Lance helps, but it only gets you 2. Dragonite gets you 3 if you can get it out and then get free energy on it. Once you've got a whole bunch of evolved dragons out, then you could potentially drop Latios Prism Star and sweep for the game. Because if your opponent can't one-hit KO it, and 140 HP non-GXs are very awkward to KO at the moment, then you basically just sit there and win the game. And it's very, very difficult for your opponent to do much of anything. If it was basic Dragon as well, this would basically be broken. I've talked a lot about Rayquaza GX in recent videos, which I believe is absolutely over the top good. If Latios did 50 damage for every Dragon Pokemon in your side of the field, then I would be absolutely over the moon with this. As it is, it's limited to evolution decks. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if we've got evolution decks at the moment. I think Dragonite and Lance could be fun, but I don't know how competitive it is. We looked at Altaria GX earlier, which could be fun, but I'm still slightly unsure. The thing to remember is, very simply, if you ever have a Dragon Evolution deck, this is amazing. No ifs, no buts, no maybe, it is amazing in Dragon Evolution decks. The thing is, how many of those do we really have? I'm not sure we do. Now, as a quick side note here, do remember that the Altaria from Dragonstorm has an ability that allows you to do an extra 20 damage of all your Dragon Pokemon's attacks, just like the old Altaria. And the great thing about this is that having Altaria on the bench, it's an Evolution Dragon Pokemon, so it adds 50. Then with this, it adds 20. So if you've got 3 Altaria on the bench, then you're actually hitting 210 before you get up to anything like Choice Band or Devoured Field. Even if you have 2 Altaria on the bench and a Choice Band, that's 170. That's enough to KO a Tapu Lele. I don't know Latios GX is going to be very good at the moment, because I'm not sure we're going to have a Dragon Evolution deck in the near future, which is going to be great. Although do keep an eye on Dragonite Latias Prism Star, it could be amazing. But if we ever get a deck using multiple evolved dragon Pokemon, this is an absolute no-brainer, amazing card, which will instantly do a huge amount of damage. It's a basic, it attacks for a double colourless 1 energy attachment, and it absolutely wrecks face. It is phenomenal in a Dragon Evolution deck. I'm just not sure we've got a Dragon Evolution deck at the moment in which to play it. Either way, I will be giving it 4 Wassies, because if we ever get a Dragon Evolution deck, it will be over the top good, and honestly at that point it basically becomes a 5 Wassie card. But because you've got to play multiple Dragon Evolutions, I'm just not sure we'll ever actually get it, which is why I've dropped it down just a little bit. But if you disagree with me, that's fine. There's a comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do that. And do make sure you check out PTCG Radio on iTunes. It's a weekly podcast. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio. And yes, I know you can use Leafy on GX, but I really think that's too clunky.